Hello, BookTube. Sorry for the sexy backlighting, but the real world called me back to Boston. I am back at Hyde Cottage. The place is hot. It needs a good airing out. It needs to know that somebody is living here again. So the windows open, the fans going, cross breezes, all that sort of stuff to make it habitable again. But it is true. Frida and I have returned from the wilds of Vermont. And as some of you predicted, I returned to a pile of mail. So we're going to go through that and see how long it takes. The very first package, ironically, is an express pack from UPS. Nothing happens express when you're on vacation in Vermont, but I am back in Boston now, so we'll do this one first. We have some boxes to finish up with, and I figure the lighting is okay as long as you can see the books. You don't really need to see me. Okay, the first book we have here is an advance copy. This is for September, and this is Making Nice by Ferdinand Mount. Whose biography will tell us he was one-time editor of the TLS. Yes? A novelist, essay, and former editor of the Times Literary Supplement from 1991 to 2002. Long stretch. He was previously head of the No. 10 policy unit under Margaret Thatcher, and as a journalist he's worked everywhere, and he lives in North London today. And I don't have a pub sheet on this, but it's got tons and tons of blurbs from the UK, so it's already been out and had its shot. Let's see here. A deliciously funny political satire. The hapless Dickie Pentecost, former diplomatic correspondent for a London financial newspaper, finds himself and his family bound up in an alarming series of events revolving around the shady character of Ethel, full name Ethelbert, founder of the dubious public relations agency Making Nice. Okay, so a contemporary satire novel. Good. Great, fine way to start. We'll try not to linger on these. I will try to control my my nattering so that you're not we're not kept way past our bedtimes here. I have a great number of things to do today. Always a rotten feeling to come back from a joyous vacation to a full slate of things to do. But I'm guessing that it's going to ease up by the weekend. Oh, this next one's a romance. Fantastic. All right, this is due in late June. This is by Jana McGregor, and it is A Duke in Time from the Widow's Rules series. Catherine Varick is in for the shock of her life when she learns upon her husband Mercy's accidental death that he had married 2 other women. Her entire business, along with a once-in-a-lifetime chance to be a royal supplier, is everything she's been working for, and now could be destroyed if word leaks out about the 3 wives. I love it. Okay, so this is late June. I'm totally befuddled as to time. I'm assuming that it's getting close to mid-June, so I will read this right away. I will not have any problem reading this right away. It'll be a pleasure. I wonder if there'll be other romances in here. Let's see. Oh no, no. This next one. How odd. Okay, the next one is a, let's see, where we're going to put that. The next one is a little self-published book for Kirkus Reviews, where I do a lot of reviewing, but since that reviewing is anonymous, it doesn't feel right to me to show you the book and hold it up and talk about it. So we'll leave that, we'll put that aside. It's rare for them to send me a printed book now. I get most of those are ebooks now, since the pandemic. Okay, we have another novel. Paul Nealon, this comes out in June. Just give me a date, the 15th, so Tuesday. The Hollywood Spiral. Body outline with psychedelic lines running off it. A darkly comic novel, so another comic novel, set in the near future about the race to find a missing cyber program with the power to bend reality, all before a fast-approaching comet destroys Earth. In the near future, after the internet grinds to a halt amid a wave of cyber attacks, a company named Zodiac steps in to replace it with the evolved, augmented reality version called The Grid. Harrigan, a hard-drinking private detective living off-grid as possible, is about to be evicted from his apartment when a stranger shows up asking for his help in finding Anna, an escort with whom he claims he's desperately in love. Turns out that Anna has come into possession of the program/entity called Mirror, which has the capacity to merge the grid and reality, bending both to the whims of the programmer's users. Soon Harrigan finds himself up against the last surviving organized crime gangs in Los Angeles, Zodiac's mercenaries, and a mysterious group called the First Church of Multiverse, all of whom are hot on the trail of Mirror. if the comet rapidly approaching Earth doesn't kill them all first. Okay, so that sounds like a mixture of things that I like and don't like, and we'll see which one wins out. I cannot stand, and I for my own defense, I haven't been able to stand it for the better part of a century. I cannot stand the hard-boiled detective narrative gimmick that everything is going to come down to some alcoholic, wide-shouldered guy. It just bugs me. It just bugs me. There's hardly ever, I know you Dashiell Hammett fans and whatnot will be howling. There's hardly ever an occasion that I come across where I read even a canonical hard-boiled detective novel where I don't think, this guy's a moron. No one would trust him with work. And where I don't suspect that in the same building, there's probably somebody who could do the job. But anyway, we'll see. Maybe it sidesteps. So this next one is from the New York Review of Books. And this is another novel? Can it be? Wow, it is another novel. This is by Paul Griffiths, and it's called Mr. Beethoven. In 1823, the Handel and Haydn Society of Boston asked Beethoven to write an oratorio for them. In Mr. Beethoven, Paul Griffiths envisions a world in which Beethoven accepted the offer and traveled to America, the lion of the old world visiting the new in 1833. In reality, Beethoven died in 1827, and I had nothing to do with it. The novel chronicles the adventures and misadventures of his journey, as well as the new people he meets. The widow, Mrs. Hill, who helps him clean up the libretto, a young woman named Thankful, who teaches him a form of sign language pioneered on Martha's Vineyard, his host and banker and hymn composer, Lowell Mason, and his family, and all those whose voices contributed to the performance of Beethoven's late, great, imagined work. Mr. Beethoven is as much an intimate and inventive portrait of the elderly composer as of a young and blossoming Boston, a new society proud and emerging, and one very invested in music. Boy, was that true. Oh boy, was that true. Fantastic. Okay, great. So this, do I have a date on this? This comes out in October. I will long since have forgotten about it, but I will, I'm assuming, get another finished copy in October. That's fantastic. That sounds really good. All right, let's just keep barreling along here. I'm certain we can do this in 30 minutes. I'm certain that we can. Oh, okay, well, this will help. Another copy of the Hollywood Spiral. So no need to go into that. We just dealt with that one. So let's move on to this next one. This is from Oxford University Press. Those sometimes get to me very early. Is that going to be? Yes, this is a November book. This is The Contagion Next Time by Sandro Galea. That's what it's going to look like. I don't know if you can make that out with the backlighting. That's what it's going to look like. The future seems brighter these days, with more than half of American adults at least halfway vaccinated against COVID-19, and the other half being Trump supporters. And there is much celebration of both science behind producing multiple effective vaccines so quickly and the political will required to open eligibility to all adults just weeks after the vaccinations began to take place at all. But we're now entering an even more dangerous period in the midst of all we have to celebrate, warns the Dean of Boston University's School of Public Health, the author of this book, Sandro Galea, in his forthcoming book. The reason the COVID-19 pandemic hit the U.S. so hard in the first place is due to an entrenched and long-standing misplacement of health priorities. And the only way to protect America from the steep human and economic cost of another pandemic, perhaps the next time more deadly than COVID-19, is to fundamentally change the way we think about health. So, Dr. Sandro Galea and I are going to argue in the course of this book. That is stated as a statement of fact, but in fact, it is an extremely uphill and challengeable assertion. The reason the United States, what did it say? The reason the COVID-19 pandemic hit the United States so hard in the first place is entirely due to Donald Trump. He had a pandemic response team. He disbanded it. He had a pandemic response plan. He ignored it. He had the latest science. He instead propounded witchcraft at national press conferences, knowing perfectly well there would be hundreds of thousands of people in the country who would take him seriously. The reason that America's pandemic response was so bad, and the reason why 400,000 people died who didn't have to, is one man, one egomaniac, racist, sexist, lying, fascist moron who thought, I'm smarter than the scientists and I'm certainly more powerful than this pathogen. So I don't know, this doctor is going to have to convince me, he's going to have to do a lot of work to convince me that America's endemic health system needs scrapping and reshaping in order to protect us from the next pandemic. I don't think you have to look any further to see that's not true, than the way America's endemic health system has worked to roll out this vaccine. Once a science-denying fascist moron wasn't in office and didn't need to be placated and didn't have his idiot son-in-law telling people in a press conference that national stockpiles of emergency supplies are for the for the capital, I guess, for the Trump family, not for the states. That's why it happened. And if you want, you only have to look at other countries being ruled by actual authoritarian or wannabe authoritarians to see the same pattern. So it wasn't the endemic health problem. America has lots of endemic health system problems, but we were ready for it. We were prepared. We had a blueprint. We had the best warnings and advice. We had the example of Italy, and Trump ignored it all at the cost of 500,000 people. So we'll see. I won't gear up my heavy artillery until the autumn when I get to read that book. But now we'll move on to cardboard, and then we'll finish up with boxes. And if I can just keep myself from ranting, then we'll be fine for time. Okay, another novel. This one comes out in October. It looks like a spy thriller of some kind. It's Damascus Station by David McCloskey. Lots and lots of blurbs. General David Petraeus. This guy does more blurbs than I do. Where does he find the time to read? David Ignatius, Jack Carr, Leon Panetta. Okay, so this is plugged into the establishment. This thing is, but the pub sheet is only, it's only blurb by famous people. It isn't anything else. So we'll just read from the book. The book is also only blurb. What do we got here? David McCloskey is a former CIA analyst and consultant at McKinsey & Company. While at the CIA, he worked in field stations across the Middle East and briefed senior White House officials and Arab royalty. He lives in Texas. Senior White House officials and Arab royalty, and not to get back on my hobby horse right away, but I'm really hoping that means that he didn't brief Jared Kushner. I'm really hoping he's not a friend of the Kushners. CIA case officer Sam Joseph, so not David McCloskey, but Sam Joseph, is dispatched to Paris to recruit Syrian palace official Miriam Haddad. The two fall into a forbidden relationship, supercharging Haddad's recruitment and creating unspeakable danger when they enter Damascus to find the man responsible for the disappearance of an American spy. But the cat-and-mouse chase for the killer soon leads to a trail of high-profile assassinations and the discovery of a dark secret at the heart of the Syrian regime, bringing the pair under the all-seeing eye of Assad's spy catcher, Ali Hassan, and his brother Rustum, the head of the feared Republican Guard. Sounds pretty good. Another autumn release, so I'm all for a good geopolitical thriller, but it's going to be a while before I get to it. So we're moving right along here. This next one's a little bit of an odd package. Might have come to me from overseas or whatnot. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Great. This is an early July release. I have praised it on this channel already. Be happy to praise it again. This is Catherine Raven's book, Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship. And I don't have the pub sheet for this one. This is a story of a woman who is a little bit on the misanthropic side, a little bit disappointed with the people that she meets and the life that she's living. Decides to move all of her instructional classes online and move herself to the wilds of rural Montana in the middle of nowhere. And discovers after a short while that a wild fox is coming to her property and just sort of hanging out every day at the same time. So she decides, well, what is causing this and what are the boundaries of it? So at first she takes a chair out and just reads out loud to Fox. And the fox keeps coming, keeps coming back. They form a very odd kind of friendship, and it is beautifully written. Beautifully. Some of you may have seen a review by one of my freelancers for this book in Big Canoe News in northern Georgia. If I remember, I should get much better at this, but I'm a little bit wayward in putting those reviews on these videos when they're applicable. And I also will be reviewing this for the Christian Science Monitor. It's one of my July books, so I'm very glad to have a finished copy. That's our first finished copy today. Fantastic. This next one is wafer thin. So it could be a slim volume of poetry, or maybe a paper book catalog of some kind. Oh, no? It's a magazine. What on earth? Why am I getting this? Is there a note? No kind of documentation? No. Okay, well, I don't know why I'm getting this. Maybe somebody told me and I forgot. This is an issue. This is what? The August issue of Mystery Scene magazine with Sujata Massey on the cover. How wonderful! This is just a mystery industry magazine. I've seen it in bookstores, but I don't know that I've read an issue in quite some time, if ever. So fantastic. All right, let's set that aside. That's a periodical. That's not a book. All right, let's barge on. How wonderful! I wonder if did I get that as some sort of freebie alongside my subscription to Ellery Queen, or did one of you send it to me? Oh, great. Okay, this next one is a July release as well, I believe. No, June, mid-June. We've seen this already. This is Scott Borchert's book, Republic of Detours: How the New Deal Paid Broke Writers to Rediscover America. This is the very pretty finished copy. This is a tour of one particular New Deal Works Progress Administration program, the Federal Writers Project American Guides. This book presents an example of a government arts program similar to the one politicians like Representative Ted Lieu and writers nationwide are currently calling for. Grappling with questions of racial representation, who is entitled to tell whose stories, and who gets to be considered a laborer, this book shows both the wonders and downfalls of the largest collective writing project in American history. And I have had the advanced copy. It's of obvious interest to me, and I haven't got to it yet. Which is what I always say on this channel. Sometimes the finished copies give me a little kick in the pants to get to work. So that's a second finished copy. That's great. And we're doing fine for time. We're under 20 minutes. We're almost done. So let's see what this next one is. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. One of these adhesive packages, our very first one. This is a new Penguin Classic in this redesign with the wide white stripe all the way around. This is a new translation of the Kalevala, Finnish epic that, let's see here, what does it say? Sharing its title with the poetic name for Finland, Kalevala is the soaring epic poem of its people, a work rich in magic and myth which tells the story of a nation through the ages from the dawn of creation. Sung by rural Finns since prehistoric times and formally compiled by Elias Lönnrot in the 19th century, it is a landmark of Finnish culture and played a vital role in galvanizing its national identity in the decades leading to independence. Now that back cover copy doesn't say that this is the first Penguin translation, but I believe it is. This is a translation by Aino Freiberg with an introduction by Jukka Kopela. It used to be before this volume that if you wanted a mass market, just an ordinary available non-scholarly monograph edition of the Kalevala, I think your only option was Oxford World Classics. And I have that here somewhere. I'm going to need to dig it out because I'm going to want to see how different the two volumes are. I, of course, do not know the original. But that's great. No date on this, but I'm assuming this is out already. The great national epic of Finland is now in Penguin Classics for the first time. Then we have the boxes, 3 boxes, one little, one medium, and one big. So let's see what the little one is. Just make a pile here. Oh, fantastic! Oh, this is lovely. Okay, I got a publicist asked me if I wanted this thing, and I immediately said yes. It's a naked hardcover, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. This is from Princeton University Press, and this is by Christopher Leahy, and it is Birdpedia, a brief compendium of avian lore. And this is all, that cover's all raised. The artwork there is all raised. Oh, fantastic. Birdpedia is an engaging, illustrated compendium of bird facts and birding lore, featuring nearly 200 entries on topics ranging from plumage to migration to birds in art, literature, and folklore. This enticing collection is brimming with wisdom and wit about all things avian. And those are the end papers there, and it's full of illustrations. There is a kiwi. The kiwi is the largest egg in proportion to the size of the parent anywhere. Wow. Okay, this is fully. Was that a stink bird? Okay, fantastic, great. I don't have a pub sheet for this, and I don't remember the date for it, but I'm definitely going to write about it. Absolutely going to write about it. So that's another finished copy. Now we'll do the medium box. And I don't have. I'm freshly back from the fields of Vermont, so I don't have my scissors nearby. The nearest scissors are right at the hands of Desiderius Erasmus in that portrait. Here, let me Let's see what we can do here with this. This box is from Macmillan. There's no way it was going to open on its own, so let's see what we have here. Maybe a finished copy. That would be nice. Finished copies are always nice. Yep, it is a finished copy. Okay, great. Great. This is, it gets to me a little bit late. This comes out at the end of June, the 29th of June. I've already reviewed it. It's terrific. This is by Stephen Saylor, and it is Dominus. This is the pretty finished copy of Dominus. This is a novel about the Roman Empire after the reign of Hadrian, during the rise of Christianity, during the real concerted rise of Christianity. And it follows two large extended families through all of Roman history. There have been two books before this. This is the third one. It's terrific reading. Those of you who know Stephen Saylor from his Roma Sub Rosa series, the Gordianus the Finder books, will already know what to expect from this author. He never lets you down. Richly textured stuff. So this comes out, this finished copy comes out at the end of June. It is certainly going to be the foremost example, probably in all of 2021, of Roman historical fiction. So if you are interested in Roman historical fiction, you just got to have this, especially since the latter part of the book, dramatizes a period in Roman history that tends not to be well known. And the gimmick of these family chronicle historical fiction is that you see it up close and personal, and that can be a lot of fun. And then we have the last one. The last box is a big thing. It's from Amazon. It's got all sorts of paperwork in it. What have we got here? What have we got here? Oh, this is a gift. Oh, this is a gift from one of you. What have we got here? Oh, this is a gift from one of you. This is a hardcover collection. Oh, this is beautiful. From IDW, of the complete Star Trek newspaper comics. As you can see, this takes place in the wake of the original movie. There was suddenly a syndicated Star Trek newspaper column, and Sundays were in color, and then the weeklies were in black and white. And this is all of them. How incredible! I've never seen any of these. Never. What an incredible gift! Thank you very much. What an incredible gift. I don't know who actually wrote these things. Or whether that'll even be credited, but this is fantastic. This goes from 1979 to 1981, and I will not have read any of these. So one of you, with one quick gift, gave me a gigantic book full of Star Trek adventures that I've never experienced before. Fantastic! Oh, how incredible! Well, I'm gonna have to find the person who sent this and thank them. But anyway. Good Lord, what a note to end on. So there you go. That is the back in Massachusetts mail hall, the back in Boston mail hall. We have Star Trek, the complete newspaper comics of the original movie, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. We have Dominus by Stephen Saylor in a finished copy. We have Republic of Detours, the Federal Writing Program, also in a finished copy. We have Fox and I by Catherine Raven, an unqualified recommend. You're going to love it. If you love nature writing, you must find a copy of this book. We have Damascus Station by David McCloskey, a spy thriller. We have The Hollywood Spiral. Let's see here. The Contagion Next Time, a study coming out in the autumn of improving America's response to COVID-19 and like such pandemics. What else we got here? Making Nice, Ferdinand Mount's new novel coming out in America. Mr. Beethoven by Paul Griffiths, a portrait of Boston in the 1830s. Let's see here. Birdpedia, a compendium of avian lore. The Kalevala, a new Penguin classic. And A Duke in Time by Jana McGregor. So, literally everything. Roman historical fiction, Star Trek, romance, almost everything. Even a little science fiction thrown in. Plus, Mystery Scene magazine. That was very nice. I suspect that was a gift as well. You people are way too nice to me. But that's going to give me... Mystery Scene will actually be the first thing that I read. I'll read it over rice. I'll read it over some rice and broccoli. But that's it. That is my Back to Boston mail haul. I would ordinarily recklessly promise a whole bunch of more videos today, but like I mentioned, I'm hitting the ground running here in Boston today. Not the kind of homecoming I really like, but it was nice enough for Mark and his family to get me back here early as it is, and now I've got to compound that by getting out and about, even though it's boiling hot here. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I would love it if the weather were like this or hotter all the time. But it's not going to stay this way. This is an abnormality for mid to early June. So the temperatures are going to go back down to normal for, it looks like, 10 days or so. Looks like it's going to be about 10 days of daytime highs of 80 Fahrenheit and nighttime temperatures going into the high 50s Fahrenheit, which is perfectly comfortable at both ends of the spectrum. But until then, I have to do a little more airing out of this place, and then I've got to go. So this is going to be the only video for today. I'm really hoping I'm not so backlit that you feel like you're being talked to by a villain in a Marvel movie, but we shall see. Oftentimes I've noticed that what I'm looking at in the camera on the phone doesn't exactly correspond to what you're looking at when it posts, that it's usually better, brighter. We'll see. I'll hope so, and then I'll work out the filming location for all other videos. But that's going to have to be tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.